So we've got triggers, we've got actions, and then we also have what we call formatters or filters. Sorry. So Zapier is going to have a function built in where it can then take what Printavo has given it and apply its own logic to it. So one of the filters is called paths. So we would call that conditional logic. What that basically means is if the status meets condition A, maybe we want it to do this. If the status meets condition B, maybe we want it to do that. I'll give you an example of one that I just came up with is for conditional logic. If a payment is applied and it's over $2,000, send me a text message so that I can say thank you to that customer, whatever that is, right? If the order is under $2,000, I don't care to know about it. Here's another one. If a payment is under, $100, put it on a Google Doc so we can talk about it at our company meeting on why we shouldn't take orders under $100. Okay. So those might just be things that you're like, oh, that might just be a good thing to track. So why don't I create some conditional logic for it so that we have that data running? Another filter that Zapier has is called filters. Filters is whether or not something should occur. And a filter is basically, if it looks like this, then do that. So if we're in Zapier right here, and I'm just going to pull up a Zap, and we'll just create a really basic one right here with an invoice that's, say an invoice got updated. Okay. Then a filter would be an in-between step. An in-between step basically is just like, I want to do this before I go. So a filter would say like, if the status contains these words, well, these words might be delivered. So that's the filter. Or if the customer email, contains an EDU account, maybe you want to track that EDU, then, that's your filter there. Or maybe you filter it based on a hashtag, right? Or maybe you filter it based on a company. If it contains these words in there, right? Apple or Google or Facebook, make sure that, we do, they get a different email or a different thing like that. So filtering is basically just siphoning out the zaps based on what logic Printavo is giving it. And so you can filter anything that Printavo is going to give you. And basically, Printavo is going to give you everything that's on the invoice. It's going to give you the nickname. It's going to give you the invoice number. It's going to give you the shipping name, the URL even. It's going to give you the invoice creator, the salesperson, right? It's going to give you customer due dates, totals. It will give you the line items as well. And so, if you had a filter running that way, you could filter out by line items. But the filter is going to be something that you have to test over and over again because you're basically cramming a bunch of data against a sift and you're seeing what surfaces from it. But the filter is one that I use very, very heavily. And that's something that's whether or not it should occur. Another one that Zapier offers is going to be the delay function. The delay function is what everyone's been asking about of the review email that we send out. Delay it for 5 days, delay it for 1 week. You could also say something along the lines of, if a status, stays in a certain period for a certain time, then do this, right? So if a status is in art out for approval, wait 24 hours and then send them this, right? If they're in the same boat, right? So it's going to do kind of two tests, right? The delay function. The last one is formatter. Formatter is going to take raw text, HTML, anything you possibly have, and it's going to format it in such a way that other applications might like it. One of the big things that I have in my Zapier is what I call a burner account in Gmail. So I basically, whenever I create whenever I create a status note change notification, I also will send it to a burner email. And this is kind of some tough things to follow, but I'm going to go into my Printavo right now and I'll show you one instance. Job start. I send that email when the status hits job start, I send it to burner@campus.inc. Can the delay tell the customer to approve the art if it's sat too long? Yeah, Justin. So that would basically say if the status is in this state for more than 1 day, go into your Gmail, send the customer a follow-up email with this invoice URL and tell them to approve it, right? That's a pretty that's not terribly hard to do. But going back to the burner email, an email is the only way to get a true timestamp of any status change, and that's my way that we track it. So job start and job stop, I send it to burner@campus.inc. And then what I do on Zapier is I search for anything with the status that says job start. And then I take the time and I graph it in Google Docs. But basically what I'm doing is that email then turns into my trigger. That burner@campus.inc turns into my trigger. So I basically just have, and I can open up the burner email right now. It auto archives quite a bit. But let's see here, burner@campus.inc, status change to picked up. That's because we send out our review emails via when the status is in that state. So it's basically all of these status changes right now are creating a timestamp somewhere in Zapier. I'll give you another instance right here where we do that. Build online store. We build a lot of merch stores. So basically, whenever that status changes to build online store, we send it to the right employee, but we also send it over to the burner account so we can make a list of how often we've built online stores, right? You guys see how that works? So I implore everyone to create a burner account and at least just start copying things over from there. Because when you copy over that data and you have it in Gmail, we can then search Gmail for that data. And it's very easy to search because you know the invoice name, the invoice number, the email address, all that stuff is right there in that email. So I'm kind of stepping ahead of myself right now, but that's something that everyone should do.